Okay, last but not least, my partner in crime. Kathleen McKitty Harris is a fifth-generation native New Yorker who was transplanted as a middle schooler to the Connecticut suburbs in the early 1980s and frantically memorized Lisa Birnbach's The Official Preppy Handbook to fit in. Not surprisingly, she didn't. Her work has been published in the New York Times, Long Reads, Creative Nonfiction, McSweeney's Internet Tendency, and The Rumpus, among others. And she's currently working on a memoir about her New York Irish Catholic ancestry. It's wonderful. Kathleen also performs as a storyteller and has been featured on the Moth podcast and on such stages as Joe's Pub at the Public Theater in New York City. She co-hosts the What's Your Story reading series with Rory Kelch, mostly in her backyard in northern New Jersey, where she lives with her dreamboat husband and two pretty freaking cool children. Yes, they are. Yes, he is. And here she is, my the mention of tartan plaid connotes Scottish Highland regiments, or burly, bearded men in kilts with bagpipes above the pleats and absolutely nothing underneath them. For others, plaid is a snarling nod to punk and to the likes of Vivienne Westwood and Malcolm McLaren. Some might even think of 90s grunge flannel or a Monty Python lumberjack when they catch sight of plaid fabric, or of a twirly dress or festive necktie they wore as children in a tinseled Christmas memory. But if you're a person of a certain age, and more specifically of a certain organized religion, plaid means only one thing: the daily uniform for your Catholic school youth. In my Catholic grammar school in Queens, the plaid school uniform was a child's first indoctrination into Catholic life, even before we sported white veils and dresses or polyester suits from JCPenney for our first communions. In 1975, girls like myself who enrolled at Sacred Heart School in Glendale, Queens, were issued a plaid bib jumper, 3 white Peter Pan collared shirts, and the pièce de résistance, an adjustable plaid snap cross tie with a faux mother-of-pearl button to make it classy. That tie encircled my neck every Monday through Friday for 7 years, and it was always snapped, always centered on my chest, always present. To defy the diocesan dress code and go tieless, which to the nuns seemed nearly as egregious as going topless, meant a trip to the principal's office and a call home to your parents. The only time that those ties were given a reprieve was in the dog days of late June, the final days and weeks of the school year. My classmates and I did something akin to a sister-sanctioned Catholic striptease as the temperature slowly rose outside. If the mercury on the thermometer went above 90 degrees, we were allowed to remove our ties. If it reached 92 or higher, then we were allowed to unbutton the top, and only the top button of our Peter Pan collared shirts. To unbutton 2 buttons was to be a hussy. God forbid a boy saw the hollow of your throat while he sat under the watchful eye of impassioned and often quite chipped ceramic saints with arms extended and stigmata aplenty. God, I loved how we used to hook and snap those ties around the bibs of our jumpers on those hot summer days like we were rebels. Mad from the heat and from the sudden freedom, like everything was off kilter. Entirely possible. That tie meant you looked polished, you looked professional, you looked above board and righteous, and you belonged to something greater than yourself and were maybe, just maybe, a little bit holy. It looked like you had somehow gotten an MBA at the tender age of 6. You were going to your little 7:45 a.m. to 3 p.m. job of saying the rosary and clapping oraisons and being entirely, utterly Catholic at your little faux wood green desk, just like everyone else in your class. Because being Catholic in 70 years Queens was, unlike a mullet, all business and no party in the town. At least not until you hit 6th grade or so, when you started sneaking your parents' cigarettes and buying beer from the back window of the seedy liquor store up in the avenue. Because I grew up during one of New York City's most violent and tumultuous decades in its history, the plaid Catholic school uniform strangely also offered me comfort. There was safety in numbers as my friends and I sauntered to the candy store, boarded the Q55 bus, all sashaying together in our knife pleat tart skirts, all wearing the same tie clasped around our necks. We were a glorious girl gang of plaid. We were almost never accompanied by our parents, and we were perhaps the last generation to live that way. We were on our own on those streets at the tender ages of 7 and 10 and 13. Back then, I often tucked my crucifix necklace, a small Celtic cross given to me by my father when I was a little girl, under that tie when I walked through my neighborhood to avoid having it snatched from my neck. But a quick flash of a familiar plaid skirt from behind a city bus seat, or the glimpse of that same school tie peeking above the zipper of a classmate's winter coat meant I was with my people. And they had my back if I got jumped, or at the very least, taunted mercilessly that my mother was from Hoboken, or even worse, from Creedmoor. The reverse was true, of course, if I was walking somewhere alone and encountered a plaid mob of kids from neighboring St. Pancras or Our Lady, Queen of Martyrs. If only these saints and sanctities knew the blood spilled and the hair pulled to defend their honor as the namesakes of the coolest, toughest parishes of Queens. I envision their holinesses all flowy robed and gauzy and haloed, watching us from above as we were fighting, just as they'd watch a boxing match, mimicking our scratches and fists, then collecting on bets placed against the green plaid uniforms and the red and black ones. A quick peek at my grammar school's website shows that today's enrolled students have it far easier. They can wear sneakers now, not saddle shoes as we once had to. They don't have to buy their uniforms from dusty old storefronts manned by crotchety old ladies in cat-eye glasses with tape measures around their necks. They can just get khakis at Old Navy now and call it a day. There are no scratchy poly-cotton dress shirts in their daily wardrobe, just soft cotton polo shirts, like they're off to play golf somewhere. Like God woke up one morning and said, hey, forget about this. Maybe I was too rigid with the plaid uniform. You know, let's give these kids a break. I'm actually starting to wonder if God takes edibles now. At least when he's traveling through the tri-state area. I mean, really. It's an astonishing thing to realize that the seemingly ordinary life I once lived and at times endured in a New York Irish Catholic outer-borough home in the 1970s can now form so much of my artistic expression. It is also astonishing to realize that a seemingly ordinary object, a strip of tartan fabric, can usher in such strong feelings for me more than 40 years after I wore it around my neck. I long held on to that tie because I earned it. A few years ago, I had it framed along with my school-issued 1977 MTA bus pass. And it hangs in my office where I can see it and remember who I once was, where I came from, and what I still possess within me. It is a talisman of strength, perseverance, of foolishness, and hubris. It is a portal to a city and time that no longer exist. It will undoubtedly be relegated to the trash after I have left this earth, but it will still hum with the energy of my Queen's youth, vibrating somewhere in a Jersey landfill. And since it's made of polyester, it will be there for a very, very long